You had the weapons in your room with you when they found you?
Just a gun.
So you weren't trying to get away with it?
The gun was to be given to somebody to clean and hide.
Suddenly, a chilling scream shattered the stillness, reverberating through the corridors like a ghostly wail. Blood-stained walls, a grim reminder of the horror that had just taken place. Smoke hung heavy in the air, mingling with an overwhelming sense of dread, revealing the horrifying events that we're about to disclose. In that fateful hour, a fragile mind devised a sinister plan that would shatter a family's world, betrayal and violence intertwining in a shocking tragedy. This is the grim story of the Caffey family murders, where loyalty crumbled and innocence vanished without a trace. Terry and Penny Caffey worked hard to provide a loving and supporting home for their 3 children. They were committed to strong family values, emphasizing trust and respect. Terry was known for his calm demeanor, while Penny brought joy and energy to their lives. Together they aimed to create a nurturing environment for Aaron, Justin, and their youngest child. As the eldest, Aaron faced typical teenage challenges and began to experience the highs and lows of relationships. Her most significant relationship was with Charlie Wilkinson. Initially, their romance seemed like a typical teenage affair. However, it soon grew more complex. Charlie's influence over Aaron became evident as she was drawn to him despite warning signs. Aaron struggled with her identity and self-worth, feeling pressure to meet peer expectations and navigate intense emotions. Her growing independence worried her parents, who noticed her increasing distance and secrecy. Aaron began to confide more in Charlie than in her family, creating a rift that led to a noticeable change in her behavior and relationships with her siblings. Charlie's influence over Aaron grew. He introduced ideas that deepened her frustrations with her family. The ideas became a blend of love and manipulation, trapping Aaron in a cycle she found hard to escape. Her parents' attempts to intervene only widened the gap between them, leaving Aaron feeling isolated and misunderstood. As Aaron distracted herself from her family, Justin and the youngest sibling noticed changes but struggled to understand or help. What started as a normal teenage conflict escalated into a troubling situation, setting the stage for the tragic events that followed. Erin's feelings towards her family became more strained as she wrestled with her identity and independence. She felt trapped by her parents' rules and believed they did not understand her. This growing resentment made her yearn for freedom, and she saw breaking away from her parents as the only path to happiness. Charlie became a central figure in Erin's life, offering both charm and a dark influence. He agreed with Erin's criticisms of her parents, validating her frustrations and deepening her sense of betrayal. This validation clouded Erin's judgment and led her to view her family in a negative light. Charlie suggested extreme measures to escape her family's control. Their conversations shifted from typical teenage dreams to discussions of violence. Charlie's manipulation made Erin consider that eliminating her family might bring that freedom she desired. As Erin's thoughts grew darker, driven by Charlie's influence and her own frustrations, she began to see murder as a possible solution. The idea did not start as a deliberate plan, but evolved from a toxic mix of manipulation and resentment. Erin's increasing secrecy and attachment to Charlie led her down a dangerous path, culminating in a horrifying act that would change her life forever. The night of the murders started quietly, contrasting sharply with the chaos that was about to unfold. The Caffey home was peaceful, lit only by the moonlight. Terry and Penny Caffey had settled in for the night, unaware of the horror approaching. Their 3 children, Aaron, Justin, and the youngest sibling, were asleep. Beneath the warmth of family life, tension simmered unnoticed. As midnight approached, the atmosphere shifted. Shadows deepened outside as Aaron's accomplices, Charlie Wilkinson, Bobby Johnson, and Charles Wade, arrived. Charlie, the mastermind, had convinced Aaron that this was her only escape from her family's control. Bobby and Charles, driven by loyalty and excitement, approached the house with grim determination. Inside, the mood turned tense. Aaron, torn between fear and excitement, let them in. They gathered in her room, whispering about their plan. As they plotted, the reality of their actions began to settle in. Charlie urged Erin to see this as her chance for freedom, and the group moved through the dark house, their footsteps heavy with dread. The violence erupted suddenly. Terry and Penny were jolted awake by screams as their attackers stormed their bedroom. Panic spread through the house as the family tried to grasp their situation. Erin, conflicted, stood frozen, caught between loyalty to Charlie and her love for her parents. The home, once a place of comfort, became a scene of unimaginable horror. Terry and Penny fought back, but the attackers were relentless. The struggle was brutal, with the sounds of their fight echoing through the house. Erin, overwhelmed by conflicted emotions, watched as her world crumbled. The house, once filled with laughter, turned into a battleground, ripping apart the very fabric of their family. After the violence, the group tried to cover their tracks by setting the house on fire. They spread gasoline throughout the rooms, igniting flames that quickly consumed everything. Smoke filled the air as the fire raged, transforming the quiet night into a scene of destruction. As the fire blazed, Erin faced the stark reality of their actions. Watching her childhood home burn, she saw her memories reduced to ashes. This was not freedom, but a nightmare. The aftermath of the night would haunt her for years. The group fled, leaving behind a shattered home and family. What was meant to be an escape became a tragedy, forever changing the lives of everyone involved. As the fire lit up the sky, the consequences of their choices would follow Erin and her accomplices for the rest of their lives. The aftermath of the horrific events left the Caffey home in ruins. As dawn arrived, neighbors noticed smoke rising from the house and called the police. When authorities arrived, they found the house severely damaged by fire and the bodies of Terry and Penny Caffey, who had been brutally attacked. Detectives quickly began investigating, gathering evidence that soon pointed to Erin's involvement. Neighbors described the family as seemingly normal, but hinted at underlying turmoil. This led detectives to suspect that the crime might have involved someone close to the family. Erin was taken into custody and initially claimed to be a victim. She insisted she had no role in the violence, portraying herself as coerced. Her emotional state varied from tears to anger as she tried to deflect blame onto Charlie and the others. However, as evidence piled up, it became clear that Charlie's influence had heavily impacted Erin's decisions. Witnesses came forward, revealing Erin's decisions about her family and her plans with Charlie. It became apparent that Erin's motivations were more complex than she admitted. The investigation also established a timeline, revealing layers of betrayal and pain. The media quickly picked up the story, with sensational headlines spreading the tragedy far beyond the local community. Erin's arrest drew widespread attention and public outrage, as many struggled to comprehend how a young girl could commit such a horrific act against her own family. As the case unfolded, it exposed a web of deceit and manipulation, with the path to justice just beginning. Terry Caffey's reflections on that night are filled with pain and confusion. He struggled to come to terms with the betrayal of his daughter. In an interview, he expressed his shock, saying, "I never thought my daughter could be capable of such violence." His words captured the deep sorrow of a father confronted with a heartbreaking reality. Michael Washburn, Erin's former boyfriend, shed light on Erin's mindset before the tragedy. He recalled that Erin had voiced strong negative feelings about her family, saying, "She told me she wanted her parents gone. I didn't take it seriously at the time." Michael's testimony highlights the warning signs that were not fully recognized. Family and friends of the Caffey family were left in disbelief and shock. Many struggled to reconcile the Erin they knew with the person involved in the murders. One family friend summed up the sentiment saying, "It was like living a nightmare. To think that Erin, who was part of our lives, could do something so horrific. It was beyond comprehension." The reactions from those close to the Caffey family reveals a deep sense of loss and confusion as they tried to make sense of the tragedy. The various testimonies and reflections offer a complex view of a family devastated by violence and betrayal. Terry Caffey's struggle, Michael Washburn's insights, and the reactions from family and friends all contribute to understanding the emotional turmoil of this case. The trials following the Caffey family murders were marked by intense courtroom drama and emotional testimonies. Erin Caffey and her accomplices faced hearings that drew public and media attention. Each trial revealed more about the horrific crime, with the prosecution presenting evidence of how Erin, Charlie Wilkinson, and the other conspirators had planned and executed the murders. The defense worked to navigate the grim details, hoping to lessen the consequences their clients faced. Erin's defense team argued that her relationship with Charlie Wilkinson heavily influenced her actions. They portrayed her as a victim of emotional distress rather than a deliberate perpetrator. Despite these arguments, the prosecution provided strong evidence of Erin's direct involvement and premeditation. The defense's attempt to depict Erin as a troubled young woman under duress did not sway the court's focus on the severity of the crime. The sentencing of Erin and her accomplices marked the end of the legal proceedings. Erin Caffey received a minimum sentence of 42 years in prison, reflecting her significant role in the murders. Her co-conspirators also faced severe sentences. Charlie Wilkinson and others were given life sentences without parole, while Bobby Johnson received a minimum of 20 years. These sentences highlighted the seriousness of the crimes and the impact on the Caffey family and the community. The trials underscored the complexities of the case and the deep emotional scars left by the crimes. The legal battles were not just about justice, but also about understanding the motivations behind the acts of violence and betrayal. The sentences served as a stark reminder of the consequences of such actions. Legal expert Dr. Smith offers insights into the complexity of the Caffey family murder case, shedding light on the legal ramifications of the actions taken by Erin Caffey and her accomplices. According to Dr. Smith, the case is particularly intricate due to the premeditated nature of the crime and the involvement of multiple individuals. Erin's role in particular was critical to understanding the severity of the legal consequences. Her actions were not merely impulsive, but involved careful planning and manipulation, which played a significant part in the courtroom's decision. Dr. Smith highlights that one of the key legal issues in this case was Erin's influence over the others involved. Her relationship with Charlie Wilkinson was central to the prosecution's argument. It showed how emotional and psychological factors were intertwined with the crime. The defense's attempt to portray Erin as a victim of her circumstances faced strong opposition. The legal system had to carefully consider the extent of Erin's responsibility and the degree to which her actions were influenced by others. The expert points out that the harsh sentences handed down to Erin and her accomplices reflect the seriousness of their crimes. The legal system aimed to balance justice for the victims with the need to address the complex dynamics of the case. The long sentences for Erin and her co-conspirators serve as a reminder of the gravity of their actions and the impact on the victim's family and the community. Dr. Smith notes that the legal outcomes also underscore the role of premeditation and planning in determining the severity of punishment. The Caffey family murder case highlights deep themes of love, betrayal, and family dynamics. It shows how trust and affection can be twisted into something devastating. The love that should have united the Caffey family was shattered by a betrayal so profound it's hard to understand. This case reveals how family bonds can become strained and lead to tragedy when underlying issues are left unresolved. In the aftermath, Erin Caffey's mindset has been widely analyzed. Her actions starkly contrast the expected family love with the betrayal she committed. Her emotional state is complex. She faces guilt and remorse while grappling with the extent of her betrayal. Erin's struggle to reconcile her actions underscores the severe impact of betrayal within a family. It illustrates how personal conflicts and emotional turmoil can lead to destructive decisions. The case serves as a powerful reminder of the fragility of relationships and the devastating effects when love turns to hatred. The story of Erin Caffey and the Caffey family emphasizes the severe consequences of broken family bonds. Years after the horrifying events that changed her life forever, Erin Caffey looks back on her actions with a mix of regret and disbelief. Reflecting on her choices, Erin struggles to come to terms with the impact of what she did. The passage of time has given her a clearer perspective, yet the weight of her decisions remain heavy. Erin's reflections reveal a profound sense of remorse and an understanding of the irreversible consequences of her actions. In a candid moment of self-reflection, Erin admitted, "I didn't realize the consequences of my actions until it was too late." This statement underscores a harsh truth. The full impact of her decision only became apparent after the damage was done. From a life of betrayal and violence to grappling with the lifelong effects of her choices. The final interview with Erin provides a glimpse into her ongoing struggles with guilt and the emotional burden she carries. It is a sobering reminder that even as time passes, the effects of such profound actions do not fade easily. Erin's reflections offer insight into the personal cost of her decisions and the lasting repercussions that extend far beyond the initial acts of violence. The impact of the Caffey family tragedy ripples through time, leaving behind lessons of forgiveness and loss. What happens when trust is broken beyond repair? Join the conversation in the comments, like this video, and subscribe to stay updated.